BMW Motorcycle Owners of America present the Short Wheelbase Podcast. With members in all 50 states, Canada, and across the globe, the BMW MOA invites you to ride inspired. Learn more about membership benefits, including roadside assistance, tire hazard protection, and more at bmwmoa.org. The Short Wheelbase Podcast is also brought to you by Boxer 2 Valve, supplier of quality OEM and aftermarket parts and specialty tools, and by Air Support BMW, offering premium driveline rebuilding and performance enhancements for your air-cooled BMW.
Welcome to episode 15 of the Short Wheelbase Podcast. I'm Nick. We have Daren.
Howdy, howdy.
How you doing today?
I'm quite well. Nice spring day here in the Ozarks.
Yeah, I think it's 75 here outside of Denver.
I'm on the green machine today as well.
Nice. I'm not riding today. You can kind of see why. We'll get into that in a minute when we talk about our garage updates. After the updates, we will jump into the featured bike of the week. This week, it is a bike that was featured on my Instagram page, Airhead Misfits. It's an 83 R80 ST, but has been customized and completely redone in an HPN Paris-Dakar style rally bike. Really cool bike. Can't wait to talk about that. But before we move into anything else, I just wanted to let the world know that Daren is actually headed to the Handbuilt Show in Austin this weekend. I think you leave tomorrow. By the time this posts, you'll be there.
That's right.
So that's awesome. Are you looking forward to that?
I am. I've never been to anything like this before. I'm meeting our partner in crime, Wes, from BMW MOA, who posts videos from time to time. So looking forward to catching up with him. Might even run into Ted Moyer from the MOA as well. And I'm expecting a lot of IPA, beard oil, and cuff jeans.
I think you're probably right. Yep. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it. I was trying to, but scheduling and vacation didn't really pan out this time around. But I will be living vicariously through you and looking forward to your report when you get back. I've seen a handful of the builders that I follow on Instagram who are going. I'm starting to see trailer pictures and Sprinter van pictures getting loaded at their shops. I know David Lee's going with
you told me that. I hope I can run into him.
Well, I don't want to ruin it. I'll let you find it. But two really cool looking bikes. Excited for you to see those. So hopefully in a couple of episodes we'll be able to kind of debrief on this and talk a little bit more about what you saw, what you did, what beers you drank, what beard oil you sampled.
That's right. Hoping to run into the Carver boys. I'm going to try to catch an interview with Eli, the younger of the two. I think maybe he's got a bike or his brother's bringing one. I can't remember. His brother had one there last year. So looking forward to catching up with those guys. They're in the Austin area. Let me just say one thing about Austin. I have been going there off and on for a number of years. And the first time I went there was in the early 90s. I just was passing through on a cross-country trip with a friend of mine. And we went to the old Antone's Blues Club, the original Blues Club. And this was back when Austin was kind of still under the radar. Texas sort of outlaw style, hadn't become the corporate town that it is now. I used to go down there for South by Southwest when I was playing with bands back in the day, and it had a neat vibe to it. It was real similar to Midtown Memphis, and I often thought if I was exiled from Memphis, I'd love to move to Austin. But boy, has that place changed.
Yeah, it's changed a lot. Did you hear recently that South by Southwest is canceling the music portion of the festival? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't get to figure out or read why. I don't know if it's attendance issues or just I don't know. I'm not going to pretend like I know what it is, but I did see that they are no longer going to be doing the music portion of South by Southwest, which is unfortunate.
That's a shame. Boy, I had a lot of fun playing down there over the years. Saw some neat bands, and what a great music scene still down there. But boy, back in my day back in the 90s and early 2000s. That was a great place. A lot of great blues, alt country and all that kind of stuff. And
for sure.
But yes, I was down there a few years ago, and good grief. What a crazy place it is now.
Yeah.
I mean, just box, these box apartment buildings, are just ubiquitous down there. And I've seen some of that in Memphis too, but anyway, all that being said, I'm looking forward to going down there and seeing what I can get into.
Cool. I'm looking forward to hearing the report when you get back.
Full report.
All right. Well, we'll roll into the garage updates for the week. I'm going to go first this time around because for the last couple of episodes, I haven't had much to talk about.
It's about damn time, Nick.
It is. It feels good. But the big news is I just recently, as 2 days ago, actually, scored the quintessential harbor freight lift that you can kind of see here in the background.
Yep.
This was the Colorado Air Marshal's lift. He decided he didn't need it anymore, so he sold it to me very reasonably and was even kind enough to deliver it.
That's a big bonus,
which was great. So may or may not remember, I have another lift that is just a wooden lift that I built myself. And so that allowed me to get the R96 project here.
Wow.
Onto that stand so I can start working on it. I don't know, you might not be able to see this once it's cropped, but there's an engine sitting over there too. So starting to go through the R96 and make an inventory of that. Got the conversion bike up on the stand. First on the list will be new brake shoes.
You gotta, those get, it's not screwed in. Those are rivets.
Right? Yeah. Yep. So I've never done this before. It's going to be an adventure. I have a drill press that I hope we'll be able to get the old rivets out.
Yep.
So we're doing that first. Oil change, obviously, just for the season here. What else do I have? I think I've talked about this before, but I've got the twin headlight Ernie clutch pulley to go on. I've got a new starter to go on, which I've mentioned. I'm doing show and tell today. If you couldn't tell, I've got to pick something up off the floor here.
Yeah, perfect. Well, the bike looks good too.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So then the last project that I'll be working on will be getting these bad boys.
Oh, yes. I remember we talked about that weeks ago. You've got all the parts, you think?
I think I have what I need. I have these brackets that go on the bottom and the tabs for everything else. I think I've got everything I need. I'm not going to wire them up quite yet. I'm still trying to figure out how I want to do that because I want to wire them to be turn signals instead of brakes.
Oh, yeah.
So I have to figure that out, but I really want bags to carry stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. My only comment on those bags is when they're on, they're on.
Yeah, these ones are going to pretty much stay on. They're kind of they have these little tabs, and a friend of mine actually told me the name of them, and it's escaping me. There's a specific name for these little like spring tabs that hold them on, but I'm probably going to just bolt them on just so that I have the confidence that they're not going to fly off. I'm pretty sure they're original, so I don't want to lose them.
Yeah, and the nice things about those compared to a Cruiser or even a later model BMW bag is they will stay on.
Right.
Don't have to worry about the bungee strap.
Yep. I did recently have someone tell me, though, and I'm forgetting who this was. Someone on Instagram mentioned it to me that the lids like to fly off.
Oh, okay. Yep. So I could see that.
I don't know if this is original or not, but whoever had mine put chains on the lids.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Safety chain. Yeah.
Hopefully they won't fly off. And if they do, they'll just make a whole bunch of noise until I realize it.
Yeah. I've lost 2 Cruiser bags over the years. One I was in Memphis, and it was kind of a slow incident, and I saw it kind of roll past me. And no real damage to it. And then a couple of years ago, I think we talked about this. I lost one here out in the back roads in Arkansas, and I looked for that damn thing for forever. Couldn't find it.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully we won't be losing anything off this bike.
No.
But, and then the last thing that I'll be doing, and this isn't really moto, I guess it's moto specific, but I've got the whole quad lock set up to go on to my bars for my phone. I'll be bringing this along with me to put on the green machine for the rally in June.
Well, I'll make that exception one time, Nick.
Can I put technology on your bike? Is that allowed?
One time, yes.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it. I need GPS, so so I'm coming prepared.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, and I've got something you can plug into directly to the battery with that.
Even cooler. I was just going to hope the battery lasted, but if you've got a plug, that's even better.
I do, yes. Forward thinking, because my wife plugs her phone in when she's on the back. So, I've got that little battery tender adapter and a plug. So you're all good.
Excellent. So yeah, I've got a lot of stuff going on. Looking forward to getting the bike together. My hope is to get most of the work on the conversion done in the next week or so. Because like I said, it's 75 degrees out there today. I want to ride.
Yeah. So let me ask you, now you've transitioned from car to moto garage. I have to imagine it's a little more exciting to have the bike stuff up and in your face than it is the other stuff.
Yeah. I prefer it to be laid out the way it is right now. But everything's on wheels, so when I need to, all the lifts can go to one side. Even this desk that I'm sitting at can go out of the way.
That's
and I
great.
can bring a car in if I need to. But I much prefer it to just sit like this.
Yeah. Well, that's exciting. Well, I'm going to look forward to seeing what happens with the /6.
Yeah.
I've got some parts stashed, so, you can email me on the side if you come up needing something.
Sounds good. What do you got going on in your garage these days?
Garage updates from me. Some more fine tuning on the green machine. My tachometer cable had a kink in it, and not in a weird way, just a bend. And I kind of knew that was not long for this world when I was putting the bike back together. It just had a weird sort of bend to it. So got a new one of those, put that on, no drama there. I got to look at my notes here. Hold on.
No worries.
Okay. So here's a neat thing I did. I bought a German speedo and tachometer housing. For this. So the one that was on there, this bike, I'm 100% convinced it was crashed at some point. That's just a given. And I'm pretty sure the original housing unit was replaced. At some point, it had a U.S. style or UK style when they bought it over there in Germany. And I had seen on some pictures, German delivery bikes of the /6 had the gauge housing that had, the 0 instead of neutral written on there, and then oil spelled OEL instead of OIL.
Mm-hmm.
And I came across one on eBay and got it for a real good price. So got that on there. And anybody who's ever done any work, or if you've not done any work, I should say, on your speedo housing and you need to get in there, don't be intimidated by it. It's a lot of small little bolts. It's easy to get in there if you ever need to replace your tachometer or something like that. Not a difficult job. And one thing I do when I have those apart, this seems to help. I don't know if you experience this where you are, but those of us in this part of the country where we get a lot of humidity, those gauges can fog up in the summer.
I've never experienced that. That's interesting.
I don't know why you would in your climate. One thing I've done that seems to help, it doesn't last for a terribly long time. It'll last for a season or two, but I'll put Rain-X on the underside of the glass. So when I've got it open, spray a little Rain-X in there, and that helps keep that moisture and fogging at bay. It eventually burns off once it gets warmer. But so did that. And let's see. So I had a little tip over on the bike. So it was nothing big. There's a little dipsy doodle I have to go through sometimes when I'm coming in the back road, and I got into it, kind of lost my foot, and I was going 2 miles an hour maybe, and fell over. It's no big deal. But the next day I was riding, and I'm hearing what seems to be, or sounds like, valve noise, exhaust valve noise on the left side, which is the side I fell on. And I knew right away when I had just done the valves on this bike. So I knew right away when I was finished riding, I got home, I was like, I think I know what the deal is here. Sure enough, I loosened the header nut on the left side, and the header pipe had backed out a little bit from the head, from
okay.
that tip over. And so I just loosened the header nut, rubber mallet, and it went back into the header, maybe, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch, almost 1/4 of an inch. So I had a little exhaust leak there.
Yeah.
And if you've not experienced an exhaust leak like that, whether it's at the header pipe, at the nut, or maybe the crossover pipe, it can sound like you've got loud valves.
Yeah.
But the key is when you let off the throttle, the noise disappears. That's how I knew what it was right away. So anybody out there new to these bikes and you're hearing something that sounds like valve noise, but you've just adjusted your valves, that could be the culprit there, is you've got an exhaust leak.
Gotcha. Yeah, makes sense. Well, I'm glad it was easy fix and it wasn't, a totally mangled header that you had to replace.
Yeah. Like I said, it was a low speed tip over. My ego was bruised a little bit. That was about it. Thankfully, nobody saw me. But I did have in the notes here, I wanted to make a few comments about parts purchases, in particular, that gauge housing I found. So I purchased that on eBay in Germany, and it's from a seller I'd bought from before. I think his moniker is Needful Things or something like that. I might get it wrong. His name's Ralph. And here's what I want to say about that. So first of all, if you're looking for used parts, don't be afraid to shop on eBay in Germany. There's good sellers here in the States, but what I've found sometimes is parts are either undervalued or they don't get bid on in Germany as often as they do here.
Interesting.
Maybe because they're more ubiquitous, or the demand or desire for them is not as much. But for instance, I got this gauge housing for $40 US dollars, which is great.
Wow. I would have thought that was at least $100.
Exactly. And I bought another, what was the other part I bought? I can't remember. I bought it might've been another gas cap or something from them. So I bought two things to combine shipping. So, you do take a little hit on the shipping. It was maybe $40, $50 for the shipping to the US, but it still ended up being cheaper. I priced it out at a few other places, and you're 100% right. Yeah, it's like $100, $110 at some other places. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is, go over to ebay.de. Don't go over there too often because I might be looking for something as well. But in the occasion you do have a need for something, it's a good resource. German sellers, good communicators, everything gets packed and shipped really well. I bought a bunch of stuff I bought a bunch of things in Germany over the years. So look into it.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I've kind of started also buying gear from Germany.
Oh, really?
There's I think it's fcmoto.com. I believe they're in Germany. I'm pretty sure. If they're not in Germany, they're nearby. And I was really hesitant at first, but they had a jacket that I wanted. No one in the US was selling it.
No.
And I was super, super hesitant at first, but I bought it because I couldn't get it anywhere else. And Daren, I think I bought it on a Monday night at 10:30 at night, and it was at my doorstep on Thursday morning.
Wow.
Super quick packaging.
Yeah.
It was packed well, shipped it quickly. And I think the funny thing was when I ordered this, I had ordered a part from something. It was for the car. It wasn't an Airhead thing, but I had ordered a part for my car at the same, 5 minutes after I ordered this jacket, and the part didn't show up for another week. And it was from someone 3 states over.
Yeah, via USPS, which it seems like they're running Pony Express these days.
Yeah. So all I'm trying to get at is there's some really great sellers in Europe. I can't speak to all of them, obviously, but I wouldn't worry too much about shipping. They get stuff to you quickly, and
they do.
You might pay a couple bucks more for that shipping, but hey, if it gets here quicker and it's the thing you need, then why not?
And kudos to you. I know I like the styling of some of the Euro garments. The cut and the fit is a little bit better if you're not too pudgy a fella.
Right on the edge.
Yeah. And I like the design sometimes a little bit better. Just the Euro styling on some things. I tend to lean towards that in my taste. So maybe do a show and tell on the jacket one day.
Yeah. It's blocked right now. my coat jacket is blocked by my lift, but I'll bring that out. I also bought a helmet from them recently.
Oh, okay.
And it was the same thing. Couldn't buy it in the US. It's different in every state, but here in Colorado, we don't have a helmet law, right? So I don't necessarily need a DOT approved helmet. However, the European standards are as good, if not better.
Probably so, yes.
They just don't come with a DOT sticker on them. So if you live in a state where the DOT approval sticker isn't necessary for you, there's a ton of amazing helmets that are only available in Europe.
Yeah.
So I ordered this really great helmet. That's a great idea. I'll bring the helmet and the jacket out next time, and we'll talk about them.
Little gear show and tell.
Yeah, a little gear show and tell. Exactly. But I mean, I bought them for the rally. It's exactly why I bought them. So,
okay, good.
I'm excited to get them out there and get them used. I was afraid of the humidity. You mentioned the humidity in those gauges.
Yeah.
That's exactly why I bought this jacket. I'm like, it's dry out here. I usually ride up in the mountains where it's 10, 15 degrees cooler.
Yeah, it's going to be steamy on your in your ride in Tennessee. That's for sure. I mean, that's
exactly
towards the end of June.
Yep.
So yeah, you'll want a jacket that's got some venting on it or something.
Yep, that's what I got. So yeah, I'll bring those out next time. Cool. Do you have any other things going on in the garage? Do we miss anything?
No, I guess I'll just button it up to say I'm hoping to just keep the wrenching to a minimum here for the next few months. It's been a busy winter for me doing all that, so I'm hoping to just focus a little bit more on riding. I do have some stuff to do on the 77S, but I'm taking a self-imposed hiatus on ordering and doing work for a while. Cool. Maybe another couple months. Once the summer time rolls around and I've got my schedule shifts and I've got a little bit more time, I'm sure I'll dig into it. So
sounds
right
great.
now, I'm making sure, Nick, the bike is ready for you. That is my number one priority right now.
What a guy. Appreciate it. Cool. Well, if we're done there, then we can move on to the featured bike. As I mentioned earlier, we have an 83 R80 ST this week. This is a bike I featured on the Airhead Misfit Instagram page. As I've mentioned before, find me on Instagram at that handle. Reach out if you have a bike you want to share. I send out stickers as thank yous for everybody. In fact, I believe the FedEx guy, I think I just heard him show up. I just ordered about 500 stickers. So I'm stocked up. I'm ready to send stickers out. Hopefully we'll still have some in June to bring with me to the rally. If not, the FedEx guy will be here again between now and then. So anyway, reach out, send me your bikes. We'll feature them on the Instagram page and maybe here as well. Free stickers for anyone who does that. So yeah, the bike that we're talking about today is from user Codex Moto, his first name is Nick as well. So I'll just refer to him as Nick going forward. He has this 1983 R80 ST that he bought from a previous owner who went and modified it in a whole bunch of awful ways, and it was just a mess of a project.
Do we have photos of the
He did not send me any photos of the before, so we'll just have to imagine how bad it was. But he did want me to say that because there's a lot of people who regard the R80 ST as one of like the best Airheads there are. So he just wants everyone to know he didn't butcher a perfectly good ST.
Yes, it was in a bad state.
It was in a bad state.
Okay, fair enough.
And I'm sure, I'm going to bring up pictures here. I'm confident that you will all agree that it is not in a bad state anymore.
No.
He transformed this into an off-road ready machine. And it has a Siebenrock 1000cc kit. He reinforced the frame, lengthened the swing arm. WP50 extreme front suspension, Wilbur's rear shock. I might say this wrong. Takasago Excel wheels.
I would just say Excel
wheels. Yeah, I've never actually heard that word pronounced. So you heard it here first, maybe.
Yeah, just gloss over. If you don't know it, gloss over and call it something else.
Yeah. So Excel wheels, W hubs, 24-liter tank, rally pegs, custom exhaust, custom subframe, custom seat, new electrical system, which included alternator, ignition, plugs, wires, a lithium battery, LED lights, heated grips.
Holy cow.
And he says, and so much more. I don't know what else there was to replace, but there was more apparently. So this thing is built to the hilt. It is more than capable at this point to take on pretty much anything. On the theme of today with the Handbuilt Show, and you're heading out to that Handbuilt Show, he submitted this bike to be accepted and shown to the Handbuilt Show, and it was accepted. Unfortunately, he's busy this weekend, but he does plan to show this bike at the LA version of the Handbuilt Show if they do have it this year. They had it last year for the first time.
So he's out on the West Coast anyway, so that makes more sense.
Yeah. So the only thing that would keep him from showing it at the LA Handbuilt Show would be if he sells it between now and then, because the bike is actually for sale. So
it is. If
this bike and all of its capabilities is something that interests you, find him on Instagram, Codex Moto, CODEXMOTO, or just reach out to me on Instagram or comment below and we'll get you guys in touch. But wow, what a bike. The colors on this bike are, I'm going to let you comment on the colors because you're a color expert, right? Like my bikes are all black and white. So
fair enough. Yeah. I think that is the Touareg Blue from the 1986 year model R80 GS. So that color came in the last run of those bikes. That of course is a tank from a Paralever GS, a second generation GS. And so he's sort of blending the generations there. He's got the Touareg Blue from the first gen, got the white stripes, not Jack White and Meg White, on the tank. And then, as I mentioned, it's a second gen Paralever style of tank. So nice job on that. That looks really good. That's a great color.
It's sharp.
Great color combination. It's hard to pull off, in my visual tastes, sort of a blending of that. I've seen those tanks where they somebody puts a GS decal on there, the rainbow stripe on there, and it doesn't look right. The sort of orientation and size and everything looks a little off. He pulled it off with this.
Yeah, it looks great.
Looks really good. The orange swing arm, nice touch.
I would have never thought to do that. I mean, like I said, I'm a black and gray and white kind of guy, but man, that's just a cool touch.
Yeah, and that was on a BMW, or not BMW, but there was a custom bike when the Urban GS came out initially the first year. Somebody did one. It was called La Rosa or something, and they used incorporated that orange and red and blue in the bike, and that's kind of reminiscent of that bike that came out maybe 5 or 6 years ago. I may be missing the name, but a nice color touch there.
Yeah.
One of my other notes on that. So yeah, you mentioned the suspension upgrades on that. So, boy, he's got the beefy front end. What did you say? It was a
WP50 Extreme front suspension is what he listed in.
Do you know what that is? I really don't know.
I don't. Not only am I a black and white bike guy, but I'm obviously leaning into the /5 and /2 and even /6 era bikes. I think I've mentioned this on our episodes before. I've never even ridden a GS. So the GS bikes, I'll be honest, like they're kind of a mystery to me. I admire them, but like I haven't dove deep into that world. So some of these words I can't pronounce and I don't know what they mean.
I want to say, and someone feel free to correct me if I'm wrong here, I want to say that might be something that would have come on a KTM.
Okay.
That would make sense. That sounds and looks familiar. That would have come from a KTM build for the front end. And of course, there's some work that goes into grafting that front end on that frame and getting the wheels right. You've got your spacers, your brake caliper, everything's got to get lined up. That is not a bolt-on affair.
No.
For any stretch of the imagination. The extended swing arm too, Nick, I think again, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think the whole purpose on that is it does give the bike a longer bit of suspension travel for off-road use.
Yeah.
So,
that part I know.
That part, and
it's just geometry.
And of course that does mean the bike's probably going to sit up a little higher. You got to make some changes to the center stand, I would imagine. But this got me wondering though, with this bike, let me back up and say the R80, it's not a R80 ST. I mean, that's what
Not
the
anymore.
frame. Yeah, that's what the frame would show. I would call this R80GS hybrid. You can say HPN style. I personally, if I was selling the bike, I wouldn't use that. There's nothing HPN on there. But that's just me. I would just call it a hybrid, a GS or ST hybrid. But all that to say, the extended swing arm on this, gosh, I would love to get this here in Stone County and see how it performs in the proving grounds around my house.
Yeah, take it through those creeks.
Oh, yeah. I mean, gosh, I can imagine it's like floating on a cloud compared to, the stock suspension on my GS or all the twin shocks and stuff. But I wonder if there's anybody out there that has this modification. Maybe Nick will chime in or something like that. I wonder how this translates, though, to a daily driver or a street bike, because you're adding length to the bike, the overall bike. So I think that would, in some way, change how it handles a little bit on the street. A longer frame or longer swing arm might not turn as tight and be as flickable. I don't know. I've never ridden one. I'm anxious to ride something like this with these suspension upgrades. But I'd be curious, how is this bike intended to be used? Is it surely? I mean, it's fine as a daily driver, of course. I mean, it'd be fine on the street, whatever. But it's purpose built for off road, no doubt about it.
Oh yeah.
And the other thing I would say is, in my notes here, I put, if somebody out there is looking for a modern ADV bike, I mean, you've got your choices. There's the Super Tenerés and whatever KTM's doing. I don't even know what they're doing anymore. But
I have no idea.
Yeah, I think
the orange bikes. That's all I know.
Yeah, they were bought out of bankruptcy or something like that. But point being, you could spend the same amount of money on a modern ADV bike that has this sort of riding style capability and feel and whatnot. But the great thing about Nick's bike here is you've got it on the Airhead format. You're not tied to a dealer. You can do the work yourself. You can replace the parts yourself. You can do the maintenance yourself. And I think there's a lot more value in a bike like this than there is with a new bike. And I personally wouldn't see his bike depreciating like something if you bought a brand new 2025 model or whatever. I mean, this thing's going to retain some value.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And like you said, you're not tied to the dealer network. So if you are going to go on an adventure ride and spend months on this thing, you've got the same support that any of our Airheads have, right?
Yeah.
Like all the same not dealerships, but all the same suppliers. You can get to a lot of these things you can fix without even getting in touch with a supplier.
Yeah, no, exactly. And, you and I see a lot of these things. I mean, you get bike submissions. We're on ADV all the time, and, vision and execution, A+ on this for Nick. I mean, you had to, I remember watching the build on ADV. It was a slow process. And as soon as I saw the orange swing arm, I thought, okay, this guy's got sort of an eye for design and detail that I think I'm going to like. And when the bike was finished, 100% that was the case.
Yeah. Yeah. It was fun to see it progress. And like you said, it's a great machine. The attention to detail is huge on this. It looks like it could go anywhere you could possibly point it. So long as you can get a leg over it. That's where I have a problem with these kind of bikes. Right. And it's really the big reason I haven't gotten into the GS bikes or bikes like that is I'm just too damn short and my legs are too damn short. I can't, I need jeans. I mean, you're wearing a Gene Simmons shirt right now, aren't you?
Oh yeah. I got my kiss patch
as I
on,
was saying it, I saw the face. But yeah, I would need like Gene Simmons style boots with the big platforms on the bottom to even be able to get over it. I mean, there's a lot of short guys that ride bikes like this. So I don't want to discourage anybody. But it has discouraged me for sure.
Well, I would say, the most famous GS rider probably of all was nicknamed Tom Thumb.
Yeah. Because he wasn't he like, I thought his shoulder was like at the seat height or something like that.
Yeah. You've seen photos of Gaston Renier, and it's like, yes, shoulders are at the tank. But, I've often thought about that, it's just extra incentive not to come off the bike.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's just in a way, I guess it's the same thing. Like smaller stature fellas make good jockeys. So
I mean, yeah, they're way up there on a horse.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. But yeah, and the other thing I'll say, to button this up, I looked at this and thought, this is really an ideal bike for me here in the Ozarks. And, I had a fleeting thought, could I get it? Yeah, I'd have to sell something, sell a bike or two or something like that. But I just can't do it.
Well, folks, you got to get on this bike before Daren changes his mind.
Well said. Well said. Well said.
Because I don't know, he could go to sleep tonight and wake up tomorrow morning.
I've been known to make rash decisions. Yes.
Cool. Well, love sharing this bike. Thanks again, Nick.
Great job.
Just a reminder to folks, his username is Codex Moto on Instagram. So reach out if you are interested in buying that bike, or just checking it out. I think there's more pictures on his profile.
Indeed.
So that is what we have for the featured bike of the week. We're going to roll into the excerpt that we're going to share. And Daren, I'll let you kind of introduce this one. This was a fun one to listen to. I enjoyed this.
Yeah. So you'll hear me talk about this when we get into the excerpt, but I'll mention it here again. I just happened to come across this fella, Bob Morton, on a social media site, and I saw pictures of him smiling all the time with his one of his Airheads, drinking beer and playing music. And I just thought, wow, I mean, that is checking off 4 major boxes for me as somebody that I would like to talk to. And I sent him a note, and what a fun guy to talk to. It's a shame he's so far away in the UK. Just seems like somebody I'd love to spend a lot more time with, talking, cracking jokes, drinking beer, and riding bikes. Just a fun guy to visit with. It was nice to get a perspective on the Airhead scene outside of the U.S. We've been a bit U.S. centric by no other fault than our own. We're based here in the U.S. So I am trying to reach out to get more international interviews, riders, enthusiasts, product developers, and things like that on the 247 podcast. So we've got some stuff lined up there, but Bob was a great chat. I saw he also joined up on ADV recently. There's some additional pictures of his bike. You can find him on Facebook as well. But just all around a really fun guy to talk to, great sense of humor, and it was a fun visit.
Yeah, no, it was good to hear. He even mentioned Denver there, and I was chuckling when he mentioned having being offered a tour of the Coors Brewery. I thought that was.
Yeah, stay tuned for that.
It was hilarious to me because I've lived in Colorado for I think 18 years now, and I still haven't gone on the Coors Brewery tour.
Fair enough.
So cool. Well, I think that's all we have for today. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Jump into the comments if you're interested in buying this amazing bike that we just shared, or if you have any other comments or want to follow up on anything we talked about. But for now, we will just roll into this clip with Bob, and we'll catch you next time. See ya.
We've teamed up with the BMW Motorcycle Owners of America to offer a special membership deal for our listeners. Now, before you think, wait a second, Daren, how much is this going to cost? Let's just stop right here and say it's free. This is a complimentary 1-year digital membership for Airhead 247 podcast listeners. The MOA has a goal of adding 200 new members over the next several months. That's a lot, but I think they can reach that goal with our help. By supporting the MOA with this offer, you are also supporting this program. And let's say this again, it is free of charge. Visit 247.bmwmoa.org and complete the online form using the activation code Airhead247. That's easy to remember. You'll receive your free 1-year digital membership, and that will give our program credit for referring you. Or go to the description section of this podcast. We've got a direct link right there. Membership in the MOA offers discounts at hotels, a monthly magazine, great deals on roadside assistance programs, plus a fantastic network of BMW owners that share your passion. All this, plus you're supporting our efforts here with the podcast, bringing you unique insight into the world of the 247 Airhead. That website, once again, for your free one-year digital membership, 247.bmwmoa.org. Use the code Airhead247. Thank you very much for your support. We're on the line with Bob Morton, and Bob, you're located somewhere in the UK. Where exactly am I calling?
I'm in the village of Freckleton, which is in between the city of Preston and Lytham St Anne's, where the British Open golf is held.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, that gives a nice landmark for a lot of folks out there. So some people will say, well, who's Bob Morton and why are we visiting with him on the Airhead 247 podcast? And let me answer that question this way. So I saw a post you put up recently of a R100S you bought, 1977 model, and happened to go through your social media profile, and I started seeing all these photos of you having a good time, smiling, pictures of you with beer, playing music, and of course riding motorcycles. And I said, this seems like a guy I would really enjoy talking to. We've got a lot of hobbies and things in common, so glad to visit with you.
Yeah, I'm glad to be visited.
Let's talk. Go ahead.
I'm kind of asking myself the same question. What the hell does he want to talk to me for?
That's legit. That's legit. Well, and to be truth be told, you're really the first guest we've had on the program from the UK. So congratulations. Yes. Congratulations.
Oh, splendid. I'll have a T-shirt made.
Before we get off the rails talking about other things, beer, playing music and all those kind of things, let's get started talking about motorcycles a little bit, and in particular, this 77 S you purchased recently. First of all, tell me about sort of what attracted you to that particular model and where'd you get it?
My good friend John Robinson, who deals in Airheads, he gave me a ring and said, "Yeah, I've got this bike and it might be right up your street," and that was it. It wasn't charging. It had a load of oil leaks. It had a huge fuel leak, and he said, "Look, and I got it at the right price, and it was just the right bike at the right time."
So something you could put in your shed or in the garage over the winter and do a little work refreshing.
That's exactly the plan.
Yeah. Yeah, we're all there. I think that's one thing all of us enjoy doing, especially in the winter months, is having a bike in the garage. Since you're not out riding, having something to twist the spanners with a little bit.
Well, that's right. Well, yeah, I'm doing that with my R100S. You're doing that, I believe, with 3 R100S.
That's right. That's right.
Now that's a hobby gone mad.
So aside from, I guess, the price and the fact that it was a good little project bike for you, were you familiar with this particular sort of year model of this Airhead?
Vaguely, yeah. I knew, that it was the follow-on from the R90S. I mean, I have a good friend, Adrian Nerney, who has, I think, the cleanest R90S I've ever seen. It's just, you can eat food from any surface. So he always goes out on that. When we're riding sort of more modern stuff, he loves it, and I've always been interested in it. And so I kind of got into I thought, maybe I'll see if I can find an Airhead. And that's what brought me to John, who sold me the R100S, but this was a few years ago. And I said to him, I want to buy an Airhead. And he invited me across to his place, and we had a long chat to decide, what he thought I should have. And I looked at various bikes. There was a couple that I said, I quite like this one. He went, no, that one's not for you. And so it was a long process, and we became friends through it. And I bought my R75/6, which is just my favorite bike in the whole world. Whether I'm riding it, cleaning it, or working on it, it brings a smile on my face all the time. She's called the Baroness. So that then sort of put me in touch with John, and we ride together now.
Yeah, and you had mentioned to me, John deals a lot in used motorcycles, a lot in Airheads too. Tell me about his shop.
Well, he's up in Washington in the Northeast. And he deals mostly in the 247 Airheads, really. It's more of a hobby than anything else for him. I don't think he needs to work. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but it's just he enjoys it, and he likes people, so it kind of keeps him off the streets, if you like.
I understand. So, what are your plans with the S? I know I saw some postings you had. You were sort of in a pickle about what you might want to do with the paint. Can you polish it out?
Yeah.
The gas tank's got some scratches on it. Have you thought about and decided where you're going to go with that?
Well, I've had a little bit of a dabble with it. I looked at it and thought, I have to do something, because the scrapes were maybe a quarter of an inch wide and an inch or two long, and they were down to the primer. And I thought, and I didn't want to paint it because, well, they're only original once, aren't they?
That's right.
So I've had a dabble. Somebody suggested on one of the Facebook groups that why don't you get an airbrush and just see if you can mist it in. So I did, and I've been doing it, and it's covered it up, but it's my eye is drawn to it instantly every time. So I'm going to tolerate it for this year, and then probably paint it next year. It won't buff out.
It's hard to overlook, isn't it? I mean, especially on the tank, it's the first thing you see when you sit down on the bike.
Yeah, I mean that's why the first job on the R75/6 that I had, there was a big rust spot on the side of the tank, so I had it painted. A fella called I don't know, you might listen to this fella called John Kavanagh, who's over in Huddersfield. I took it to him and said, "Can you do the paintwork for me?" He went, "Yeah." So look, I want it to be good. He said, "It'll be better than new." I said, "Well, that's a fairly bold claim." Anyway, he did it, and it's just amazing.
Wow.
So he might get the tank off the R100S.
All right. And so aside from sort of touching up the paint for the meantime, what else are you working on that bike? You got some oil leaks, some seals to replace. What else is on tap?
Yeah. Well, it was sweeping as they often do from the base of the cylinder, and also from the cylinder head. The push rod tubes were a bit so I thought, you know what? I'll pull the top of the engine off. John said to me, "What are you doing that for? The thing's running nice. Leave it alone." But I've had it apart, and it's great. Back together, 150 pounds per square inch compression both sides, running as sweet as a nut. So I'm pleased I did it.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
While they were apart, I vapor blasted the barrels and heads, so they look good now. With my homemade vapor blaster.
Oh yeah. What? So yeah. What do you use? Tell me about that.
Well, I follow a guy on YouTube. What's it? Armory Enterprises. He's from New Zealand.
Okay.
And I followed his plans. I took a normal sandblasting cabinet and got a sludge pump, and used that to power a bucket full of slurry, and it does a great job. So I think the cabinet cost me 100, the pump cost me 60. Where a vapor blast cabinet would probably cost me £3,000.
Yeah, and I guess going with sort of a slurry or sludge, as you call it, it's not as sort of worry-inducing as doing a media blast with sand or something like that may get into the engine.
Well, that's right. And even then, I was paranoid and rinsed, just to be sure. It's in good shape. It's running beautifully. So I'm looking forward to riding it.
Yeah, and so for you, riding season will begin in earnest when? We're speaking now in late January, so you kind of follow our seasons here in the state, what, might be March, April, things will warm up?
Yeah, I mean it's not necessarily the cold; it's all the salt and the crud on the road. It's I don't want to go for an hour ride and then spend 2 hours cleaning.
I understand.
So it'll probably be sort of end of March, beginning of April. But if we get some nice days, I may pop out.
So you mentioned you've got a R75/6. I own one as well. I quite enjoy it. One of the things I noticed about this bike, I purchased it in Germany this past summer.
Yeah,
and
I followed the story, yeah.
Yeah, and it had been a while since I'd owned a 750. I had a /5 750 years ago. And one of the things I noticed about that motorcycle was it took really well to sort of just riding in third gear in the back roads. I was mostly in Germany, not a whole lot of interstate travel. and sort of the engine displacement coupled with the final drive. I found I wasn't lugging the engine a lot. I could stay in third gear. I was real comfortable there, and it was just a real relaxed, sort of pleasant setup on that particular motorcycle. Not that the R100 isn't by any means, but I just found it to be a little less stress and easier going. Do you find that the same on yours?
Oh, 100%. My good friend Colin has an R75.5, and we go out most Fridays through the year in the Yorkshire Dales, which is on our doorstep, or the Trough of Bowling. So nice, relaxed riding. It's good. It's good. There's nothing in it too much. Never in too much of a hurry.
Yeah, exactly. So you said you were sort of racking your brain to go over some of the other motorcycles you've owned. We mentioned the S, the /6. You're in the UK, so surely you've owned some British bikes over the years.
I have, and it's I was just thinking back at, you look back with rose-tinted glasses, you forget the 30 to 45 minutes you were in a car park kicking the living shit out of them. It's bloody awful. And it's interesting that in 1975, I'd passed my motorcycle test then, and I wanted to buy a new bike. I test rode a BMW. And I liked it, but it was a stupid amount of money.
Yeah.
I think it was £1,900, and I bought a brand new Bonneville for £695.
Wow!
But it was the worst bike I've ever owned. It was dreadful, just terrible. Wow. Other people I've spoken to speak really highly of them, so I don't know whether I got a Monday morning or a Friday afternoon bike, but it was just awful. It was constantly bloody breaking down. Almost rattled the fillings out of your teeth.
That's so true. Yeah, the Monday morning or Friday last shift when they put it together. That's funny. Well, I'm curious to your thoughts and some of your riding buddies and things just about the reputation of BMW in the UK. I mean, you mentioned, going all the way back to the 70s, they were twice the price of most motorcycles back in the day. Excuse me. But as we've, gone forward and they're now sort of in the classic realm, what is sort of the general reputation of the Airhead in particular among your riding buddies?
I think it's pretty good, but of course I ride with people who ride Airheads, so I suppose it would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But I think outside of that, they're fairly well thought of, I think. And it's, if you look at the Beamers of the 70s onwards, the build quality was phenomenal. They were built to a quality standard. Now motorcycles are built to a price, and you can tell.
Bob, I could not agree with you more on that. In fact, I've said that a number of times. I've heard other people relay that similar comment that yes, back in the 70s, especially with a lot of the European or German manufacturers, whether it was Mercedes, BMW, cars, and those kind of things, they were built to a standard and not a price point. And we've really lost that ability to have those kind of motorcycles anymore.
Well, I think so, and it was the advent of the Japanese coming in, and you could get a Honda CB 750, for under £1,000, and the Beamer was 1,900. So what are you going to do? So corners got cut to be able to sell them at the lower price, and that I have an R1200 GS, took 2015. And it's in comparison to my R75.6, it's not very good. It'll do everything, but it's the quality. It's not going to be around in 50 years' time. That's for sure. Yeah,
that's a great point. Another thing I've wanted to ask a rider like yourself in the UK or maybe even in Europe in general, and I don't want you to necessarily say your age here, but I wonder. Post World War II, growing up, I'm not sure of your age, but was there a certain reluctance about all things German, and did it take a while for?
You have 1 minute of call time remaining.
Yeah, I think it probably did. There was that reticence. There's always been that thing between England and Germany, and I think it's still there. It manifests itself in football terms now, but they've got a lot better than us. So
yeah.
But I think it soon passed, I think. I think the quality of the stuff won people over. Really, I was thinking about it while just before, and I think once you've ridden them, you realise what a great machine they are. Even now, you jump on a 50-year-old Airhead, and it's still a great bike.
Air Support BMW is a dedicated shop for air-cooled BMW motorcycles, offering high-end restorations and engine blueprinting for all models from World War II through 1995. Air Support offers expert mail-order component repair for transmissions, final drives, carbs, well, anything you can ship, they'll fix it. Air Support uses BMW OEM parts, factory tools, and brings years of experience to each job. And don't worry about shipping to Canada. Shipping rates are affordable and on par with other options. You can follow shop happenings, repairs, bike builds, all of George Thomas's racing exploits on Instagram as well. To schedule your next repair or to find out how George Thomas can help keep your 247 in good order, drop a line or give him a call. It's all there for you at airsupportbmw.com. One of the reasons so many Airheads are still on the road today is because of great parts suppliers and enthusiasts like Boxer 2 Valve. William and Edward Plam at Boxer 2 Valve have years of experience with the 247 Airhead, dating back to their first repair shop and dealership in the early 1980s. Boxer 2 Valve stocks and sources only premium parts and tools, so no need to worry if you're getting a cheap pattern or shortcut part. They simply don't carry them. Boxer 2 Valve has extensively researched which parts are correct for your motorcycle. Just enter your year and model, and you'll see only the parts that fit your bike. That takes the guesswork out of the ordering process. Real-time stock information that is also available, so no need to guess what may be on back order that could delay your project. Also, if you're digging into a repair for the first time, be sure to check out Boxer 2 Valve's video repair series. These cover both twin shock and post-81 models and are great tutorials that go step by step through a variety of repairs and parts replacement procedures. The video series is a great workshop companion, one I've used many times over the years. So, for all your Airhead parts needs, Boxer2Valve.com. That's the number 2, Boxer2Valve.com. You posted some pictures of a trip you took, I guess here in the past couple years, whenever it was, to Martin BMW in Germany. And I'm aware of that dealer. I've seen some of the photos before. You sent me a few pictures of inside of the showroom there. Boy, what a place to visit. Tell me about that experience.
Well, we kind of did. It was by accident, really. We were taking a trip down to Garmisch-Partenkirchen for the BMW Motorrad Festival. And there was most of us were on 1200s, but my friend Colin Stoddard, bless him, was on an F800. And we'd asked him at the start, what sort of speed do you feel comfortable with? You've got the smallest bike. So he said, I don't know, 70 to 80 miles an hour. Okay, we said, and then proceeded to thrash down the motorway at 90 to 100 miles an hour. And his bike started misfiring. So he said, we're going to have to find somewhere to have this done. We were staying overnight in Würzburg, and we sorted out the Motorrad House Erbert, which was the local dealer. And we went there the next morning. Their mechanic, Thomas, great guy. In between his sort of English and my German, we managed to get him to have a look at it. Anyway, he determined that it was the, the lambda sensor. But he said, we don't have one. We can get one here tomorrow. But we said, well, we've got to move on. Oh, so what are we going to do? What are we going to do? He said, well, I'll tell you what, where are you going? I said, Garmisch. He said, Irwin is in Schongau, which is not far from there. It's only about an hour. We'll get the parts sent there, and they can fit it for you. Brilliant. A big shout out to this guy, because we'd said to him, he was worked on the bike for maybe 3 hours? Wouldn't take a penny.
Wow.
No, we haven't fixed it. We're not charging you. Well, wow. Come on, you've got to charge for your time, but you wouldn't have it. What a great guy.
Mm.
So we rode down to Garmisch and then rode over to Irwin Martin's. And they said, oh, here we go. You take this bike, come back tomorrow. I said, no, we're moving on again. Is there no way you can do it now? Not really. Anyway, lots of to and fro, and they did it. And we just went for a nice lunch. And we got the 10-cent tour of the place, and the gear he has. I think he has one of everything BMW has ever made, like Airheads, and he's got every model of GS. I sent you some photographs. Just incredible place. We were wandering around with our jaws hitting the ground, and I think they're still known for customizing stuff, getting them from the factory and doing their own thing with them. And I think BMW has sort of followed their lead with this new R12, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Interesting. What a great place. But again, they're bent over backwards, charged next to nothing for fixing it. So that was great. A really, really good experience.
Wow.
I love Germany. It's a great place.
Yeah. What a place to stumble upon when getting your motorcycle repaired. I mean, one of the preeminent dealers and historical places to look at motorcycles anywhere in the world, and there you were.
He has just as big a collection of BMWs and Mercedes cars. Yeah, amazing, absolutely amazing. A little sidebar to that story. Well, that was all good fortune and good luck for my mate Colin. I caught COVID.
Oh, good grief!
I was a little poorly following that, and I managed to get him it as well.
Well, we're glad you survived. All right. Another thing I want to talk to you about, I love this about your posts on social media, was beer. And you had a quote, one of your posts that I just thought was my favorite was simply, airport beer, it's the law. It's
the law.
Yeah.
It is, isn't it? It's the place where time stood still.
Yeah.
Walk into an airport, it's 6 a.m., and there's a lot of people drinking. You think, what's going on here? It's just, where else would that happen? 6 a.m. Like, yeah, I'll have a beer. Why not?
Yeah.
You haven't had your breakfast yet. Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, and 9 times out of 10, you're on vacation, so what does it matter, right?
Absolutely.
I want to ask you, I know you've done some traveling here to the United States. I think for years, maybe not as much now, but, maybe 10, 15 years ago, comparing beers available maybe in the UK and Europe and what we had here, there really wasn't a whole lot of comparison. And I guess I think you're somewhat spoiled being in Europe and in the UK for having so many great breweries and brewing tradition. What are some of your favorites over there in the UK and in the EU that we might not get to sip and sample over here too often?
Well, if we travel through Belgium quite a lot, we always try and make a point of traveling through Belgium because I just love the beer there. There's a brewery called Westmalle Triple, which is a Belgian triple ale, which is just glorious. It's one of my favorite beers ever. And when we're down in Erlangen in Bavaria, my other half's parents have a house there. So we go to another, and I like the Kitzman Keller beer, which is tremendous, 1904. It's an unfiltered pill, so it's slightly hazy, but it's just glorious. The thing I love about these beers is that you can have a face full of them, and you don't have a hangover the next day because they're brewed to the purity laws, especially the German stuff. Whereas some of the beers we have here, if you have too many, the next day you're a little sluggish. I always say it's not beer that causes hangovers; it's sleep, because I always feel great before I go to sleep.
Well said. And yeah, I'm thinking of the term. I'm probably going to butcher this, Reinheitsgebot or something, where the German,
the purity law.
Yeah, exactly. The 4 simple ingredients. What about U.S. beers? Am I correct in saying we leave a little bit sometimes to be desired, or have you found some over here that you like?
Oh, I think the first time I came, when was that? 2005. I was in Denver for a wine festival. And the microbreweries were just starting to get into hotels and pubs there, so there was some good stuff. One of the guys that was there said, "Oh, we've got a slack day on Thursday. I've organised a brewery tour. brewery tour to where? He went, oh, Coors. I'm not drinking that bloody rubbish. Anyway, when we got up there, it was the first time I tried their Blue Moon, which is really quite nice. But I think you've kind of caught up now. There's good beers all over the States now. And one of my favourite ones is that the Great Lakes Brewery, their Midwest Hazy IPA is gorgeous. And they do a Christmas ale. When we visit Martina's parents who live in America now, in Ohio, we do our Christmas at the start of December because my other half's a doctor, so she tends to work over Christmas. So we have our Christmas at the start of December. So I like their Christmas ale and their Midwest Hazy IPA. So catching up.
Do you have this? I'm sorry if this seems like sort of prototypical thing to ask, but I imagine you have sort of a local pub nearby that you hang out where you walk in and everybody sort of knows your name.
Well, yeah, this is a very small village, but we have 3 pubs and 2 sports and social clubs. But I think that says a lot about the amount of drinking that goes on here.
That's great. Another hobby of yours, and maybe that's not even the right term, hobby, maybe even just as much of a passion, maybe as motorcycling and enjoying a good beer, is playing in a band. And what I found fascinating about this is maybe you can describe this a little bit better than the question I'll ask. It seems as though it's sort of like a neighborhood or a county band that you're part of, and it's part of sort of knitted in to the fabric of the community and the region. Is that right?
Absolutely. We're very fortunate. I play for Freckleton Band,
okay,
which is the name of the village that I'm living in. And the village support the band really, really well. So it's nice. It's been around since 1886. I was just reading into some of the history today. They bought a set of second-hand instruments when they first started. And the instruments were brought from Preston, which is, I don't know, maybe 6-7 miles away, by a man in a spring wagon as far as the Marsh Gate. The bandsman would meet the wagon and carry the instruments into the village to the band room and then return them to the Marsh Gate afterwards because they didn't want to pay the toll on the gate. That's just crazy. So, yeah, since 1886. I've been playing in bands since 1965.
Wow. And so tuba and bass. So it's a brass band. Is that right?
It is. I've only just moved to tuba. I played baritone for all the years before that. And I've been playing, this is my 60th year in banding.
Wow. And how would you describe the kind of music? What is it?
We do a lot of, we've kind of pushed the boundaries a little bit. Last year, we did a thing called Kinky Toots, and it was a fusion between brass bands and drag artists of all things.
Oh my goodness!
I know it sounds ludicrous, doesn't it? But it's one of the most fun things I've ever done. Google it, Kinky Toots. It's bound to come up. It was great fun. So we have an MD, the musical director, Adam Taylor, who's a real talent, and he does all the arrangements and stuff. It's good. It's good. It's something different. I'd retired from banding, and then we moved to the village, and my other half was, well, there's a band in the village, you know. I think maybe she didn't want me at home all the time. I joined them, and it's been great fun. It's been great fun.
Yeah, it seems something that's sort of unique maybe to your part of the world. Of course, every culture around the globe has a unique music history and culture to it, but the idea that you have a local sort of neighborhood band that people are part of, and it might not always be the best musicians. I can imagine with a band that size and having all the different parts. It's not always professional musicians, which is fine. No. It's just that people enjoy getting together and playing music.
Yeah, we're preparing currently for the championships of Great Britain. The area competitions are held early in the year, and the top 2 bands from each area in the UK go through to the finals. So we're hoping to do well and get to the finals this year.
All right, good luck. Well, I just found that fascinating and a really neat aspect of life over there in your part of the world. Bob, I want to ask you a little bit about traveling. You mentioned you come to the United States, your better half, so to speak, family and friends in Ohio. I travel not a whole lot over to Europe. I've not been to the UK yet, but I always have some particular observations when I come back home. I'm sharing with friends and family about my travels abroad. I'm wondering, when folks ask you about your trip to the U.S., what are some of the things that memories or unique things you find about visiting us here in the U.S. that you always end up telling your friends back home?
You've got such a mix of different things that go on there. There's a big, wide open spaces, and it's always nicer because, of course, when people hear my accent, they're all, "Oh, you're a Brit." Yeah. So you get chatting to people. And I find that people are very warm and friendly and open until you start talking about politics.
Yeah.
Then it's like, "Oh, yeah. Okay." So there's all that going on under the surface right now.
That's right.
We had a similar thing here with Brexit when we left Europe.
Yeah.
And that caused a lot of divisions, but it seems to be fairly deep-seated there and only just under the surface. So that was a little bit of a shock to me recently.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to hear that. And yeah, politically, my only comment is, right now it's kind of a mess, and we'll just leave it at that.
My dad used to say to me, "Anybody who volunteers to be a politician should be barred from doing so."
That's right. Yeah, there was another famous quote along those lines. Groucho Marx, the comedian and humorist, said, any club that would have me, I wouldn't want to be a part of.
Yeah.
Which it kind of goes to exactly what you're saying. All right, Bob. Well, as I mentioned, we had to jump back on the call here. And good grief, the calling card minutes to the UK are really expensive. So I'm going to jump forward here a little bit so I don't run out of time. Okay. It was almost $50 for this call, if you can believe that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's insane. All right. So before we run out of time, Bob, your 4 favorite BMW Airhead models. So we like to ask folks favorite year, model, and sort of color. And I imagine the R75 you own is one of those.
It is. So a 1976 R75/6. That one, because of 76, they were nearly at the end of that model, so they were getting things right.
Yep.
Probably a 72, 75/5 blue with a toaster tank. An R100 RS, probably 77. And I like the blue and white, or white and blue, with that pearlescent finish, but I also like the gold one. And I would have said R90S, but now that I own one, an R100S 77, before they put the disc brake on the back.
What about, you've probably spent enough time with these bikes. Are there some particular sort of engineering or design elements that you find troublesome or head-scratching?
Well, the side stand's a bit...
yeah.
How would you describe it? So I would say that, but it's something that I was thinking about this question the other day, and I've kind of brought it forward. I own a water-cooled GS, and we were told that they had to go water-cooled because of the emissions, because they couldn't make the other one anymore. How are they still doing the R9T? Well, they're still making and selling that engine, so we've been fibbed to there, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, the side stand, Bob, is one thing people frequent. I've had a couple motorcycles tip over on that side stand and nearly give me a heart attack. So you're not alone.
I'm going to change mine to what we call a Surefoot here. I think it's a brown.
Yep. Yep, that's right. Exactly. Do you have a good best or worst breakdown story? So I always add the caveat here. This could go one of two ways. So you break down and you're able to, with some duct tape and baling wire, fix the bike, or conversely, you break down, it's a total shit show. You have to call the trailer and cancel the trip.
We were in the Highlands of Scotland, up north of Inverness, and my rotor packed in. And And I rang a firm, Motorworks in the UK. They're very good.
Yeah.
I said, oh, yeah, we can get you a rotor there the next day. So, oh, great. And I gave him the postcode, the zip code. And he went, oh, no, we can't get it there for tomorrow. And the reason that this is really memorable is that I had to wait for that. That was on the Thursday night. The posting it, I would get it on the Saturday. It meant I would miss the ride the next day with the Vintage Motorcycle Club. But somebody loaned me a Honda CG125. And we did a 200-mile ride that day, and I just thrashed the living shit out of it. And it was the most fun I've ever had. And the other one that sticks in my mind is not necessarily a bike breakdown, but we were in the Isle of Man. And one of us...
You have 1 minute of call time remaining.
Really quite frightening. We got him in the hospital, and everything was okay, and he's okay. He's not riding again yet, but he's okay now. But it was the way the people of the Isle of Man rallied round. Nothing was too much trouble, and because he's in hospital there, we've got to get his bike home. How the hell are we going to do that? And the ferry company, they just bent over backwards, and I went out and went home on my bike, came back on my van. They put the bike on the ferry, and I picked it up in Hisham and brought it back. So that was nice. So it was a person breaking down, and we were taken care of royally there. That was tremendous. So not quite a breakdown, but there you go.
Perfect. Well, look, Bob, we've got about 10 seconds here. I'm about to run out of time. I wish we had more time to visit, but I really enjoyed spending some time with you today, and we'll be back in touch again, okay?
Thanks ever so much, Darren. Look forward to hearing it.
Okay, take care. Thanks for joining us on the Short Wheelbase podcast, presented by the BMW Motorcycle Owners of America. To join the club, visit bmwmoa.org. You can find full-length episodes of the excerpts heard here on the Airhead 247 podcast. The Short Wheelbase podcast is produced and edited by Nick Malozzi. Audio segments by Jeff Glover. You can check in with Nick at Airhead Misfits on Instagram.